Superman just got a new power upgrade. What's up, my comic comrades? Today we break down Superman Unlimited Issue 1. It's the start of a brand new Superman series written by iconic Spider-Man and Marvel writer Dan Slott. That's right, he's finally making his way over to the DC universe and is upgrading Superman's powers right out the gate. This issue does a very good job at encapsulating Superman's entire history while also introducing where the character is going. With that said, let's dive in. The issue starts off in Metropolis as Lois Lane, editor-in-chief, says, "As of today, we are no longer a major metropolitan newspaper. We're expanding into an all-new media empire, with dedicated branches in every major city, from Gotham to Themyscira. We'll be overseeing 24/7 cable channels and fact-checking 3 of the top 5 social media platforms. Let me introduce to you the woman making this minor miracle possible, our new patron saint, Imani Edge." Imani then speaks to everyone at the planet saying, "The recently divorced wife of former media mogul Morgan Edge. Guess which companies I got controlling interest in the settlement? Some billionaire ex-wives fight malaria, others climate change. I see the greatest danger we are facing is misinformation. Making the planet the foundation of my media empire is the best move I could ever make. Do any of you know why?" Clark raises his hand saying, "Truth, Mrs. Edge. Here at the Daily Planet, we fight a never-ending battle for truth and justice." Kat then interjects saying, "So this is all about branding?" Mrs. Edge tells her, "I assure you I'll be a silent partner. All final decisions will be made by your editor-in-chief, Lois Lane. What do you say, Lois? With one handshake, you're about to become the most powerful woman on Earth." Lois then shakes her hand saying, "Thank you, but this is about what all of us can." And before she could finish her sentence, Clark hears someone saying, "Look out," with his super hearing, meaning it's time for him to go save someone as Superman. As he leaves, Mrs. Edge says to Lois, "Unbelievable, one of the most important moments of your life, and your husband runs off right in the middle of it?" She replies, "When I became editor-in-chief of the Daily Planet, Clark Kent became our #1 reporter on the Superman beat. That means if Superman is busy, so is Clark. So if you want to know what he's doing right now, he's doing his job." We then get a panel of the classic and iconic imagery of Clark ripping open his button-down, revealing the Superman crest underneath, as we see a blue and red yellow streak fly off to save the day. We see police officers chasing down a car while one on the radio says, "Repeat, we're coming up on 78th and Donner, and we require assistance. Inner gang is slicing into us with their sci-fi ray guns. We can't take much more of this. We need backup now," as the other officer says, "Backup's here," meaning Superman's arrived. But before we continue, I gotta ask, did you guys catch that Christopher Reeve Superman movie Easter egg? If not, the officer said, "We're coming up on 78th and Donner," as in Richard Donner, the director of the 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman film. So a nice little Easter egg in there by Dan Slott. In any case, Superman swoops in, stops the car, pulls the thugs out, and ties them up with a metal pipe. But one of the thugs says, "There's something I gotta say to Superman." Superman says, "I'm all ears," and then tells Superman, "Remember last week when you stopped a giant ape from crushing Star City?" Superman replies, "Titano, yes, I do." The thug then says, "Well, my Aunt Dottie, she lives in Star City, so I just wanted to say thanks." Superman replies, "Anytime," and then flies off, as the other thug that was with him says, "Dude, quit embarrassing me." But the guy replies, "What? She's my favorite aunt." From here, we see Superman fly off to help the next person as he hears some mom yelling for help for her baby, as we see her son fell into the lion exhibit at the zoo, at which point Superman holds back the lion and helps the boy get to safety. We basically continue to get a feel of a normal day for Superman, as he goes from saving a boy from a lion to a plane that's going down, a building that's on fire, to a ship that's sinking, and so on. After saving a bunch of people, averting several different disasters, Superman says to himself, "Wait, there it is. Can you hear it? No cries for help, just the sounds of the city." I live for moments like, but before he finishes his sentence, he hears a girl in the park singing and playing her guitar, at which point he goes down, drops money in her guitar case, saying, "Hi, I just wanted you to know I listen to every new song that's out there, and yours is really good. Hope to hear more from you." He then flies off as she says thanks. Now, I just want to pause for a second because it's these little moments that make Superman so amazing. Like after saving a plane from going down, an entire building on fire, and so on and so forth, he still takes the time to encourage the young girl who is clearly an aspiring musician. So yes, Superman saves people from extremely dangerous situations, but he's also there to encourage you to pursue your dreams. He's truly a beacon of hope, just trying to inspire people to keep getting better.
And you know what else has been getting better? My daily menu. And that's largely because of Cook Unity, today's sponsor. Yes, I've started working on my waistline and have actually switched to a ketogenic diet, which can be pretty tough to follow in our carb-heavy world, but Cook Unity is a chef-powered marketplace that delivers freshly prepared meals that are catered to your exact diet and food preferences. I just answered a few quick questions, and Cook Cook Unity gave me a ton of incredible options to choose from. In fact, they sent over several meals based on my answers, and it's not only a great variety, but every meal looks insanely good. I actually already tried the crispy pan-fried Cajun salmon for lunch, and my God, was it good. Chef Andres, I salute you. In fact, he also whipped up the garlic hanger steak meal in my first bag too, so I'm excited to try that one next. So if any part of my story sounds like you, or you just love good food, you gotta try Cook Unity for yourself. And we're gonna make it easy too. Just go to cookunity.com/variant50 or click the link in the description to try Cook Unity for 50% off your first order. They'll customize your menu options to your preferences just like they did mine. And they have hundreds of dishes to choose from with options for every dietary preference like keto, vegan, low sodium, or high protein. So again, just head to cookunity.com/variant50 or click the link in the description to grab 50% off your first order from Cook Unity. You can also use our coupon code variant50 at checkout. I promise you, your stomach's gonna thank you.
Okay, jumping back into Superman Unlimited, on the next page, the Watchtower radios into Superman saying, Justice League Watchtower to Superman, come in. Superman replies, Superman here, what is it, Watchtower? They tell him we're detecting an extinction level event, an asteroid of phenomenal size heading towards Earth. With all the Justice League's heavy hitters away in deep space, we need you on this one. We then see Elongated Man, Green Arrow, and Black Canary at the Watchtower being like, Red Tornado, how did the asteroid avoid your sensors until now? Because remember, in this DC all-in era, Red Tornado is now effectively the Jarvis, if you will, of the Watchtower. Red Tornado answers them, according to my short-range scans, the surface of the asteroid is pure neutron. But it won't be successfully mined, forged, or put to use by anyone in the sector of space until the 31st century. So what are you doing here? Why now? Questions for another day. All that matters is there is a near invulnerable mountain of metal bearing towards Earth, and it's going to take everything I've got to stop it. As Superman flies right through the asteroid, shattering it. But when he does, he says to himself, what? Only the top layer was a neutron, a thin sheet less than a micron, easily destroyed. And underneath, it's solid kryptonite. I've let you all down. I've failed you. And now everyone on my adopted world will die as we see a giant asteroid made of kryptonite falling to Earth with Superman extremely weakened. On the next page, we see the kryptonite effects on Superman, who is clearly in pain as he says to himself, no, don't do this, Clark. There's no time for self-doubt. Once the rock hits the atmosphere, we'll be 12.8 seconds from the end of all life on Earth. Have to slow it down. But first, where is it heading? There. Rio de Janeiro, over 16 million heartbeats. I can hear every single one. Don't worry, you're all going to be... But before he could finish a sentence saying right, he grunts in pain while grabbing the massive kryptonite meteor trying to repel it away from Earth. As his captions continue to say, never felt pain like this before. It's killing me, but I can't let go. Whatever it takes, I have to hold on. As Superman is struggling to keep the kryptonite asteroid back, he envisions his parents, both his Kryptonian and human parents, as he's rocketed from an exploding Krypton to Earth. For the next several pages, as Superman is trying to push back the kryptonite asteroid, we see him envisioning his entire life. As he says to himself, I'm in Smallville, back on the family farm. Things there felt so ordinary until my superpowers started manifesting themselves. Each more unbelievable than the next, with us seeing his X-ray vision developing and then his ability to fly. We then see how Clark got his glasses as his dad Jonathan Kent says, I don't know why you've been giving these powers, Clark, and though I'm sure you're ready for them, I'm not sure the rest of the world is. A young Clark then replies, so you and Ma want me to wear these? To hide who I really am? His dad tells him, it's so they can see you for who you are, son, beyond your powers. Superman's captions in the present say, bless him. Pa's instincts were always right. We even see Kent at school with Lana inviting Lex to the corn maze, but Lex, who had hair back then, says, spare me from the hay ritual, Kent, showing Lex was always a jerk. Superman's captions from the present continue to say, I did my best to fit in, even though I knew I was different. Then one day, when I felt I was ready, Pa showed me where I originally came from. As John takes young Clark to the shed to show him the ship he arrived on Earth in. John tells Clark, this may look like a rocket ship, it's not. It's a basket. It's what brought you to us, Clark. From the moment we opened it, you were our son. Nothing will change that. I just hope whatever is in this old crate can bring you some peace. Clark's caption says, it did more than that. At my touch, the ship told me so much. The language of my birthplace, how to build a fortress, my culture, my lineage, my house. As we see Martha Kent make Clark his Superman suit. Clark then says, Ma and Pa encouraged me to learn all I could about my heritage, to embrace that I belong to two worlds, that I could use the gifts of Krypton to help make things better on Earth. And thanks to an incredible twist of fate, I was able to receive a gift greater than any powers of knowledge. The greatest gift of all, my best friend, as Clark meets Krypto for the first time, as Krypto's rocket finally made its way to Earth. We then see that Clark first uses his powers as Superboy and even joins the Legion of Superheroes. As Clark says, they showed me a universe with endless possibilities, a future filled with hope. They inspired me, and apparently I inspired them, as in the future Clark sees a golden statue of himself. Clark asks, "Whoa, what's that supposed to be?" They respond, "That's a Centennial Monument, Clark, dedicated to the greatest hero, possibly the greatest man to ever live, Superman. You will bring the people of your world, of every world, together in peace." Clark then says, "That's a lot to take in," as Saturn Girl says, "I could see it in your mind. You have questions." Clark asks, "Yeah, sometime in my future, I get an eagle?" Superman's caption in the present day says that Saturn Girl tried to erase that knowledge from his mind, but some ideas are just too big, and that over time he couldn't shake the weight of that destiny. It was time for Superboy to go away. He needed to walk the earth, learn all he could do. He goes on to say, "I had to become the very best version of myself. I owed it to everyone. I owed it to the future." Clark then leaves his parents to become the best version of himself while telling them, "I think this is why I have these powers, Pa. But know this, wherever I go, you two are my home. You're my entire world." We then see Clark make his way to the Arctic Circle, where he creates the Fortress of Solitude. As he says, "I always tried my best, but I knew I could do better. I had all the resources I could possibly need, but I knew if I was going to meet this challenge, what I really needed was a better view of the planet. And the planet needed a better view of me." As we see, he joins the Daily Planet, getting them the very first pictures of Superman, as he is Superman. He even has his very first interaction with Lois, who's all like, "I'll give you credit, Kent, for figuring out who the blue blur was, your hometown hero, Superboy, and that he set up shop here as Superman. It's the one and only time your middle of nowhere contacts will help you, Smallville." Clark says, "Miss Lane, hi, you're the reason I took my story to the Planet instead of any other paper, to work with the best and learn from them." She then says, "Is that so? Alright, then stick with me, farm boy, and try to keep up." As Superman's captions say, "That was the moment I fell for you, Lois. I've never known anyone as confident, relentless, and most of all fearless as Lois Lane." From here, Superman is reintroduced with Lex, as Lois asks Lex during a media event, "Lex, now that it's clear that Superman is setting up shop here, how does it feel knowing that Lex Luthor is no longer the most powerful man in Metropolis?" Lex replies to her and all the media saying, "That title is still mine, Miss Lane. For you see, this Superboy is not one of us. He's a strange visitor from another planet. He does not belong here, and by tonight I shall have my proof." As we see Luthor try to take down Superman for the first time with Kryptonite. We're then briefly brought back to the present, where we see Superman still trying to push away the massive asteroid made of Kryptonite, as he says to himself, "Slow the asteroid enough. Earth is safe. Rio won't get hit. It'll splash down, out at sea, far away from a remote fishing village. 37 people. They won't stand a chance unless I can change this rock's course one more time. This is going to hurt." As Superman once again tries to change the course of the asteroid, he continues to say, "I've come full circle. After all the threats I've faced, even the Phantom Zone prisoners, the Thief of Kandor, what's finally sending me off? A piece of home. I never escaped the explosion of Krypton. It was always out there waiting for me. But in the meantime, the adventures I had, the friends I made, and the family I found made this journey more than worth it. Best of all was a family and dearest friend I'd hoped for," as we see him proposing to Lois, with her saying yes, and him fighting Doomsday. Captions say, "For a moment in time, everything was perfect, until Doomsday, until the day I died. There were those who rose to take my place." As we see Steel, Superboy, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman, captions continue to say, "In the end, it was a quirk of my Kryptonian biology and the application of a Kryptonian science that brought me back and gave me a second chance. And I found this waiting for me." As Superman is now back to life in his recovery suit, saying, "Whoa, the Centennial Monument erected after my death. I remember it now. All of it, and never did get that eagle." As Superman in the present says, "Without even meaning to do it, I lived up to my destiny. That was free. Free to live the life I've always dreamed of, to share that life with you, Lois, to use all the lessons you taught me of being a father, Pa, to help raise and nurture a son of my own, Jonathan Samuel Kent. If all I did on this earth would be one of the two people who brought you into this world, that would be enough. You're everything to your mother and me, which is why when forces took you away from us and then returned you a few years older, that will always be my greatest regret. I wanted every one of those days back, though I am grateful for every moment I've had since." It's at this moment we see Superman back in the present trying to redirect the asteroid one more time, with him saying, "John, wherever you are, I hope you can hear me. Tell your grandparents how much I love them and that they were the best parents a son could ever ask for. Tell your mother she was the love of my life and I wish more than anything I could see her one more time. Remember, son, Superman doesn't win all the time. That's not what being Superman is about. It was a good life. Carry on for me. Look out for all of them. They could be a good good people, Jonathan, if you let them. And with tears running through Superman's eyes and the kryptonite finally getting to him, the meteor crashes down on Earth, finally seemingly killing the last son of Krypton. But on the next page, we see Superman wake up saying, "I'm alive? How? Where?" as Krypto jumps on top of him. Professor Haley says, "Yup, he hasn't left your bedside for weeks." Superman asks, "Professor Haley, I'm on the Justice League Watchtower, in the med bay. You said weeks. How long have I been out?" He replies, 3 months, Superman, which means there are a lot of people waiting to see you. Everyone, he's up. As Lois, his son, and mother come running in. Superman says, "Ma, John, Lois, tell me you haven't been here the whole time. Honey, what about your big rollout for the Daily Planet?" Lois replies, "I did it from here, remotely. What, do you think I couldn't pull that off?" He says, "You're Lois Lane, you can do anything." Clark continues to celebrate being back on his feet with the rest of his family and Justice League members, but once he makes his way to Batman, Batman says nothing except, "Come with me. There's something you need to see." Superman says, "What is it?" And Batman tells him, "We're almost in geosynchronous orbit. Look down, use your X-ray and telescopic vision. Right there between Brazil and Corto Maltese. What do you see?" Superman then says, "Great row." Batman tells him that's the nation state of El Caldero. While you were sleeping, it's become one of the wealthiest countries, ever since it became the largest supplier of our planet's newest, rarest, most valuable metal, kryptonite. The global economy practically changed overnight. 3 months later, we are all living in a whole new world." Superboy and Supergirl then make their way in, and Superboy tells Superman, "And for all the super people, it's a dangerous new world." Supergirl says, "For us, this is the new normal." Superboy continues to say, "Anyone can get their hands on Green K now. The League of Assassins, Cult of Cobra, Inner Gang, it's everywhere." Supergirl then adds, "All of our jobs got a little bit harder, cuz." Superman tells her, "Then we'll find a way to fix it. And until then, maybe a little hard work will do us some good." Superboy then says, "Easy for you to say, big guy. You've got a secret weapon. Wait, you don't know yet, do you? No one told you?" As Batman snaps his finger saying, "Allow me." Spectrometer lights. And then on the final page of the issue, Batman says, 3 months ago, a mountain of kryptonite fell on you. It buried you. You should have been poisoned, crushed, and atomized. This is how you survived." As Superman says, "What?" And we see him turn gold, alluding that Superman may be entering his Superman 1 million era. Because as we know, Superman 1 million is also gold. We're not exactly sure the full extent of what this means, but one thing's for certain, it's certainly a power upgrade. Along with Clark seemingly now being immune to kryptonite, as Superboy even said, referring to figuring out how to deal with this insane amount of kryptonite on Earth, "Easy for you to say, big guy, you've got a secret weapon." Meaning he's the only Kryptonian who could be around kryptonite now because of this new golden upgrade. But what caused it and what exactly does it mean? Unfortunately, we're just gonna have to wait till next issue to find out. But there you have it. Dan Slott is out here upgrading Superman, bringing his powers to next level heights in his very first issue. So you can bet we're gonna be right back here next month when issue 2 drops to find out where it's going. Overall, I absolutely love this issue. I like how it's getting into the mind of Superman and thought it did a nice job recapping Superman's life over the years, bringing new readers up to speed while simultaneously adding something new to the table with this potential Superman 1 million upgrade. We've seen Superman 1 million in the future version of Superman, but never the current Superman, if that's what this turns out to be. And if it is, you guys are not ready. You thought Superman was powerful before? Just you wait. He's gonna be able to bring people back from the dead like an actual god. But what do you guys think of all this? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Other than that, we will see you next time when we talk about all things comics.